Toto. I think I can start the webinar. So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's online seminar, which is held by EKONID, the German-Indonesian Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and GIZ. Our today's seminar is Green Hydrogen in Indonesia, How to Move Forward. My name is Rico Sihaan, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start this seminar, I would like to inform you several information. The first is that the GIZ Thailand is pleased to invite all of you to join the upcoming event called H2UP Southeast Asia Conference on Green Hydrogen and PTX. The conference will be held on 9th October 2023. You can register at the link that will be available soon in the chat box. And the second is that we genuinely invite all of you to participate in this seminar through questions and comments. You can post your questions or comments in the Q&A tab. We will discuss the questions and comments that came right in after each session finished. So, I guess I have to bring a little bit introduction about our webinar today. I believe all of you, not in a single day, not hearing about stories about decarbonization and emission reductions. And we are living in interesting era where there are lots of options for green and renewable energies. And tremendous developments has been progressed by innovators, by companies in the sphere of emission reductions and renewables, of which hydrogen is one of the renewables. Hydrogen has been one of the spotlight for many countries, including Indonesia. We hear lots of commitments, interest being stated to adopt this kind of energy, the hydrogen, as in short term and long term. And now we will look at how hydrogen can be realized. We have interesting lines of speakers that share to us their perspectives. And without further ado, I invite the first speaker for giving the opening remarks, Sir Tim Nees, Project Manager, H2UP Program, GIZ Thailand. Sir Tim, this virtual stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Then let's start. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Good afternoon to all listeners from Southeast Asia joining in. And welcome to this online workshop on green hydrogen in Indonesia, hosted by the International Hydrogen Ramp-Up Program, H2UP in short, in cooperation with the German-Indonesian Chamber of Industry and Commerce. I'm Tim Nees. I'm the project manager of H2UP, a program commissioned by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action. And it is a privilege to stand before you today as we embark on a journey to explore the transformative potential of green hydrogen in Indonesia, today with this workshop on how to move green hydrogen forward in Indonesia, and another workshop on green hydrogen derivatives before the end of this year. At H2UP, we firmly believe that green hydrogen is not just a solution, but a key instrument in our collective efforts to achieve a sustainable and decarbonized future. Our program, initiated with the support of the German government, is really a testament to the commitment of nations to foster international cooperation and innovation to accelerate the transition to green economies. But how does H2UP support this process? H2UP operates through three core fields of activities. We support export exchange. We create platforms and networks for hydrogen stakeholders in Southeast Asia to come together, exchange ideas, and learn from each other's experiences. Collaboration is the cornerstone of progress in the hydrogen sector, and we are dedicated to facilitating it. We support public-private partnerships. We actively engage with the private sector to jointly develop hydrogen project ideas and concepts. For example, the collaboration with companies to prepare pre-feasibility studies and by offering trainings. This partnership-driven approach ensures that promising initiatives see the light of day, driving the adoption of green hydrogen technologies forward. We also support capacity development. We provide and share essential knowledge resources around green hydrogen and PTX through studies, conferences, and trainings. As mentioned, our next conference on 9 October here in Bangkok, but also online for participants from Indonesia. Our aim is to reduce the risk associated with engaging in hydrogen projects and to empower businesses and individuals with the insights needed to navigate the complexities of this evolving landscape. But why is this active development of green hydrogen and PTX markets necessary? Well, it is necessary because it is now that the world finds itself in a critical juncture in the battle against climate change, and green hydrogen is emerging as a keystone for our success. Indonesia, with its vast population and growing energy demand, faces a set of challenges that can be solved or supported by green hydrogen. Currently, it stands among the top 10 CO2 emitters globally, driven by its predominantly non-renewable energy consumption. The urgent transformation of Indonesia's energy sector towards sustainability is therefore not just a national imperative, but also a global necessity. As we all know, making green hydrogen and derivatives, including PTX, available is not an easy task, particularly in a world where conventional fossil fuels often even receive subsidies. However, we must view these challenges and opportunities for innovation and growth. I'm convinced that Indonesia's journey towards green hydrogen development in its economy is poised to gain rapid momentum in the coming next years. And I think events like these will support this development and speed it up. In Indonesia, hydrogen demand will primarily be driven by the transportation sector, power generation, ammonia production, steel, methanol, refineries, and the cement industry. And to provide green hydrogen and low carbon hydrogen to these industries, substantial investments are required, which again holds opportunities to create and grow sustainable industries, create green jobs, and opportunities for exports. While green hydrogen holds immense promise as a clean energy carrier, however, it's important to acknowledge that it is not the silver bullet for decarbonization on its own. Priorities in Indonesia must include the rapid expansion of renewable energy sources, increased energy efficiency measures, and the electrification of the economy. These measures are essential for laying the foundation of a sustainable, decarbonized future. Green hydrogen can play then a crucial role as a complementary technology, especially in hard-to-abate sectors, but it should not divert attention from the immediate need to transition to cleaner electricity generation. In closing, let me emphasize that our workshop today is not just a gathering of experts, it is a platform for collaboration, for innovation, and for action. We are here to share knowledge, explore partnerships, and move towards a greener, more sustainable future for Indonesia. And I encourage all participants to actively engage in discussions, ask questions, and to share your insights. Together, we can harness the power of green hydrogen to drive positive change, we can reduce emissions, and we can create a brighter, more sustainable future for all. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to the fruitful discussions and collaborations that will emerge from this workshop. Thanks.
Thank you, Timnis, for the opening remarks. And I straightly continue to our next speaker. In the first session, we have Ibu Andrea Febi Misna, who is already joining us. Ibu Febi Misna is the Director of various new energy and renewable energy at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. Ibu Febi, this first virtual stage is yours. Silakan, Bu.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I don't know, it's very good afternoon to all of you. Maybe very good morning to my colleague in German. Distinguished speaker, ladies and gentlemen, greeting to all of you in this blessed day. And thank you for having me in this online seminar to discuss the development of hydrogen in Indonesia. First of all, I would like to convey the apology from my DG. Pak Yudo cannot join with us today because he has another agenda. And thank you very much for German Indonesia Chamber Industry and Commerce for conducting this online seminar. We really appreciate Germany for your kind support to Indonesia in renewable energy development since long years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, during the COP26 event, it is clear that we need serious action to keep global temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius and avoid future climate catastrophe. Energy accounts for the majority of greenhouse gas emission worldwide. Therefore, solution to significant reduce emission from the energy sector is very important. Indonesia responds this issue very seriously. In our G20 presidency, Indonesia put transition towards sustainable energy as one of the main topics of discussion. We raised the issue of energy transition toward sustainable recovery and productivity with emphasis on strengthening global clean energy system and promoting a fair transition. Indonesia commit in reducing greenhouse gas emission and stated in our enhanced NDC where we pledge to reduce 358 until 446 million tons of CO2 from the energy sector by 2030. In 2022, we have managed to reduce around 90 million tons of CO2. And we hope this year in 2023, we can achieve around 116 million tons of CO2 can be reduced. With an abundance of new and renewable energy potential amounting to almost 3.7 terawatt, Indonesia is planning to reduce emission from the energy sector through utilization of new and renewable energy. By December of 2022, around 12.6 gigawatt of new and renewable energy capacity has been installed. However, that means that only 0.3% of total new renewable energy potential has been utilized. North Kalimantan, Aceh, North Sumatra, and Papua are the major hydro resources. Also, solar, wind, sea, and geothermal are renewable energy potential that are spread throughout Indonesia and have not been fully utilized. Furthermore, Indonesia is taking a more ambitious approach by committing to reach net zero emission by 2060 or sooner. A roadmap toward net zero emission has been developed by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources in collaboration with relevant stakeholders from the public and private sector and outlines several milestones from energy supply and demand sector in order to reach net zero emission by 2060. This roadmap consists of several strategies to reach this target, including a gradual retirement of coal-fired power plant, acceleration of new renewable energy development, energy efficiency, electrification of energy demand, and application of smart grid. In the roadmap, we already said the utilization of hydrogen start in 2031 for transportation and 2041 for the industrial sector. Hydrogen is a zero carbon energy carrier other than electricity, which is being seriously considered for low carbon transportation, industrial decarbonization, and heat generation. Several current regulations in Indonesia already mentioned about hydrogen, including Law number 30 of 2007 on energy. However, it has not specifically in detail regulated the development of hydrogen. The government is currently drafting law of new and renewable energy to strengthen support in achieving the energy transition in Indonesia. It is a comprehensive regulation to create a sustainable and fair climate for the development of new and renewable energy, including hydrogen. We identify some regulation needed to develop hydrogen in Indonesia. Among others are regulation to support domestic market development, such as developing standard regulation, establishing hydrogen certification to encourage market development. The other are regulation to build integrated hydrogen infrastructure, and also regulation that support decarbonizing mobility safety application with hydrogen and some other regulation. Hydrogen become a game changer in energy transition and have an essential role in decarbonizing the global energy system. Hydrogen can play as an essential role for synthetic fuel for transportation. It also can be a storage for renewable electricity during high production and low demand. It also used as an industrial process. However, currently, most of hydrogen for industrial process comes from hydrogen come from fossil fuel. And hydrogen also can be to decarbonize hard to abate sector such as shipping, aviation, steel production, manufacturing, and also long distance transportation. Indonesia has great potential to produce hydrogen, such as green, blue, and brown hydrogen. Green hydrogen can be produced from renewable energy potential. As I mentioned before, that we have a huge potential of renewable energy. It's around 3.7 gigawatt. And we also have a natural gas reserve around 41.6 TCF, and also coal. So many resources that we can use to produce hydrogen, but in the future we will concern to produce the green hydrogen. There are several challenges and strategies for developing green hydrogen in Indonesia. We identify at least 4 challenges that need to be followed with some strategic action. The first one is absence of a regulation governing the development of green hydrogen in Indonesia. Some regulations such as standard, safety, and incentive are needed to develop. The second one is regarding the production cost of green hydrogen is still not competitive. Some factors that contribute greatly to the price of green hydrogen, particularly is the price of renewable energy itself and also the electrolyzer, which is currently still expensive. Another challenge is currently hydrogen supply is still dominated by coal and natural gas. So for the future, we would like to encourage the production of hydrogen from renewable energy. And the last one is regarding the infrastructure that need to be developed. We will assess some infrastructure needs such as the pipeline, long distance infrastructure, long distance transport, refueling distribution, refueling station, system distribution, and others to make sure that it can opening up the domestic market. Now we already finished our national hydrogen strategy that can be used as a guideline for future hydrogen development in Indonesia. The National Hydrogen Strategy contains of the current utilization of hydrogen in Indonesia, the direction and objective, strategic action plan, and monitoring framework for developing hydrogen in Indonesia. The main objective in hydrogen utilization is to establish a hydrogen economy that contributes to the energy transition and play an essential role in decarbonizing the global energy system. Indonesia will go to the 3-pillar strategy to utilize hydrogen. The first one is Indonesia will reduce its dependency on fossil fuel to ensure its energy sovereignty and security. Indonesia also will progress toward decarbonization target by developing a domestic hydrogen market. And Indonesia also would like to be a global market for the hydrogen because we have a huge potential of renewable energy that we can develop in the future to produce the hydrogen. And For the last, we would like to thank to all stakeholders, donors, and our partner who already support Indonesia in development of hydrogen. So many studies, pilot projects are ongoing now, and we hope from those study pilot projects, we can get some recommendation, some input to formulate policy and program to implement hydrogen. And we hope that cooperation, collaboration with all stakeholders can be increased and strengthened to ensure that we can go together for energy transition. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. Thank you, Bu Febi, for the presentation. Very interesting statements that were made by the Ministry of Energy and also from Mr. Timnis from GIZ. So now we enter to the Q&A session. If there are any questions from the floor, I'm very happy to facilitate. Is there any questions? You can submit your questions, by the way, in the Q&A tab or in the chat tab. That's fine. That's totally fine. Okay. Is there any questions? Oh, okay. I think we have one question for Ibu Febi. The question from Pak Bambang. The question is, currently many foreign industries, especially from Japan and Korea, are eyeing for green hydrogen in Indonesia. Does the current regulation allow the export of green hydrogen? And can you tell us or elaborate what kind of policy or a study that currently conducted by your directorate regarding green hydrogen policy and perhaps exports? Please, Bu Febi, silakan, Bu.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, actually, currently we have no specific regulation on hydrogen, but we have some investor that already interest to develop the hydrogen in Indonesia. And most of them are concerned not only to use the hydrogen in local, but also to export. But actually, for current situation, Indonesia actually already used the hydrogen. So we also import the hydrogen. So before we have specific regulation, particularly for the green hydrogen, so maybe we can implement the current business that already run. But we also would like to assess some policy that we have to develop to ensure that the business of hydrogen, particularly green hydrogen, that to be export, it can run well. And regarding the second one, what is the second one? What is the study? Yeah, actually, as I mentioned before, that we already finished our national strategy on hydrogen. Now we support by GIZ and also GGI to develop the roadmap, the detailed roadmap. And we also have some study to see how to implement the hydrogen, because this is so many things to be developed, such as the infrastructure, how to distribute it, and how the storage of the hydrogen, as well as what is the standard. Now we already established a technical committee for develop the standard of hydrogen, and for the next year we can start to develop the standard. So we hope we also can conduct the other study directly under Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, because some studies in PLN, in Pertamina now are on the process. So we hope we can collect all information that already done by the stakeholder to develop, to build how to develop hydrogen for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Febi, for the response. Is there any question again from the floor? Let me see. Okay, I think just came in. I don't know the name. It's initial CK. I don't know. Please, Pak CK, maybe you can rename it. But I will take your question. The question is, okay, while Indonesia is still in the infancy of hydrogen, how does this compare to other Asian countries? I think this question also can be responded by Mr. Timnis, and maybe again by Bu Febi. Bu, maybe what is your perspective regarding hydrogen compared to other countries? Maybe I will go to Mr. Timnis first, please.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, please go ahead. Please go
yes,
ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I keep my statement short. I think what we see as H2Up working in different Southeast Asian countries is that in many countries, or most, if not all countries in Southeast Asia, we had a very early market development phase for hydrogen. So in all of these countries, there are first initiatives, first projects. Some countries are already a step further, maybe Indonesia with a strategy, Singapore with a national hydrogen strategy, but nonetheless, it's not a huge amount of projects yet. So what we're seeing right now is, I think, the political partners, the ministries in charge of hydrogen, oil and gas, etc., really get into a position where they think about standards, where they think about certification, where they think about support measures for hydrogen. And we also see companies, the private sector, already engaging in projects. I think it was said before that also in Indonesia, there's already a couple of investors interested in projects. And I think the same is the case for countries like Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia. So we are all in a similar stage, I would say, trying to figure out what are the right next steps to develop this market, and trying to understand the potentials well in order to invest money well, I think. Thanks.
Thanks. Bu Febi.
I think Panes already answered the question. Yeah. No, because we know that currently the hydrogen is quite expensive, so the implementation, the scale of implementation is very, very limited. Some of countries, they already implement hydrogen for the transportation, such as, I don't know, in maybe Germany, Holland, they already use hydrogen for transportation, and also for the pilot project for the residential, such as in Australia. They already use the existing gas network by blending the hydrogen in the existing gas network for the residential or industry. So in Indonesia, now PLN already conduct some study on providing ammonia in their power generation. Pertamina, maybe they will try to implement in their own vehicle, particularly the truck for the heavy truck. The production itself of green hydrogen is not available yet, but the hydrogen in Indonesia currently used for the fertilizer, but it's come from gas rewarming, and also maybe for the in refinery they use the hydrogen, but not for the transportation and not for the heat and also for the electricity.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I think we have reached to the end of the first session, ladies and gentlemen. I personally want to give a big round of applause to Mr. Timnis and Bu Febi Misna for joining this today online seminar. Thank you very much for the presentations and your presence in today's event. We wish you all a great success in your future endeavors. Thank you. So
Thank you.
we continue.
Have a good day.
We continue to our next session. We have three speakers from, three speakers as to the agenda that I have. I want to welcome all of you, Mr. Muhammad Taufik. Mr. Taufik is the Future Business Manager at Pertamina New and Renewable Energy. Pak Taufik, I give this floor to you. Silakan, Pak.
Okay. Am I audible, Pak?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly, Pak.
Okay. All right. Thank you. First of all, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ibu Febi yang saya hormati, selamat siang, Ibu. Dan thank you for the opportunity to present today. So perhaps a bit introduction about who we are. So Pertamina New and Renewable Energy is the sixth subholding of Pertamina Persero, focusing on the development of new and renewable energy. So our focus mainly on developing all type of energy which is not, based on fossil fuel. So specifically regarding green hydrogen in Indonesia, as highlighted by Ibu Febi before, we have done some initiatives with the help of our partners on developing green hydrogen ecosystem in Indonesia. I'll jump into that later in the presentation. But before we start, so these are the three topics that I'd like to cover today. So first, we want to explain about how's the market right now and what are the opportunities that we've seen and we have identified, and also the challenges of the development of hydrogen in Indonesia. This will be aligned with what Ibu Febi has mentioned before, and also the regulation and standards also align with what Ibu Febi mentioned before. So first, regarding the regarding the status quo, right? Right now we have identified that in Indonesia there are 9 key demand clusters which account up to 50% of the overall demand of hydrogen, right? And right now, as mentioned before, the fertilizer industry are the main consumer of hydrogen, followed by refineries, which in total around 200 kiloton per year of hydrogen consumption. And as highlighted here, we can see that the locations of where the demands of hydrogen are scattered in the country. So and what does it tell us, right? So we have identified there will be two scenario on the growth of demand of hydrogen in Indonesia. The first one is what we call the low adoption scenario, meaning business as usual, or the incentive or it's not that appetizing for the industries to adopt green hydrogen. So if that scenario take place, we will see a moderate growth on the hydrogen demand in the country. However, if there are a strong push, from the regulator on the adoption of hydrogen, as well as incentive from the, related ministry, we will see a huge growth of domestic hydrogen demand, which mostly coming from the transportation sectors. And this is what we have seen also, or what has been reflected on the plan of the government of Indonesia, where the transportation sectors will contribute towards the adoption of hydrogen, the mobility sectors by 2030 onwards. So based on this, two scenarios, we've seen a potential of 8 million ton per year of hydrogen demand by 2040. And this, as I highlighted before, will coming mainly from heavy and medium duty vehicles, and also industry and all chemicals industry. So the opportunity that Indonesia have is its abundance of renewable energy, right? We have mapped, across the country's location with the potentials of renewable energy, and this summary has not considered the electricity demand, right? So whatever consumed for the electricity generation will be excess that can be used to produce the green molecule, either in the form of hydrogen or ammonia, that can be utilized for the market, both domestic if there are the needs, or maybe if we have excess, this can be also exported to the region who can absorb the products. So after considering this opportunity, Pertamina, we have commenced some studies started in 2022 on a few locations in Indonesia, using different types of energy, targeting different market. So right now we have 5. We call it marquee project because it's this would be the first in Indonesia, and as we can see, we are serious on targeting the global market for the green molecules. So yeah, along the way, we have also see some challenges, right? So first, for domestic adoption, we've seen that, as highlighted also before by Ibu Febi, the cost of hydrogen is quite expensive. So we have created an assessment for each industry in Indonesia, if they want to switch, or if they want to adopt to low carbon hydrogen compared to their conventional fuel that they are using right now. And based on this, as we can see, right, by 2030, there will be almost no sectors that can convert to hydrogen without any subsidy from the government on the production costs. Based on our assessment, by 2030, the cheapest green hydrogen that can be produced in Indonesia will be at $2.6 per kilogram. And this all considered, big scale, floating solars. And even with that kind of scale, we believe that the price still will not be able to compete with the heavily subsidized conventional fuel that these industries are currently enjoying from the government. So and in 2040, with the development of technology, where the efficiency will be improved, the cost will be lowered. Yes, we will produce a slightly cheaper hydrogen. However, still there will be only some sectors that can switch to hydrogen, and that we considered that the carbon tax should be around $10 per ton of CO2. So as you can see on the right side of the screen, right, there will be only only 2 industries, which is the long haul transportation can adopt hydrogen as their fuel with if the carbon tax is at $10 per ton CO2. And how we can close this gap is basically we can follow what the states, the United States has done, right? They have provided some subsidies towards the cost of hydrogen. So we've seen that if we have at least $0.5 per kilogram subsidy for each kilogram of green hydrogen produced, more sectors actually can switch to hydrogen. For example, the first one for the heavy duty trucks, right? We've seen that they can absorb hydrogen at $1.5 per kilogram. So if the lowest hydrogen that can be produced in Indonesia at the time is at 1.9, so we remove $0.5 as subsidy given, then these sectors can switch to adopting hydrogen without hurting their business. So the key drivers, I mean, as I mentioned before, to close the gap, there are three, right? Number one is to lower the cost of hydrogen production through incentive of tax, or maybe lower cost of finance, etc., etc. The second is that we need to increase the carbon pricing so that more sectors have some, driver on, moving towards cleaner fuel. And the third is a subsidy on selected applications so that, more, it become more appetizing for the industry to switch towards, hydrogen. So the second challenge that we've seen is, as what Bu Febi mentioned, our e-cost is not the lowest compared to other region in the world with a stronger wind or a stronger sun. So compared to our renewable energy cost, we are not the lowest. So that we need to find a way how to mitigate those weakness to increase the the adoption of hydrogen in domestic market. The third challenge that we've seen is that the location of the renewable energy sources are scattered, and transporting the molecule will cost a lot because right now there are limited options of transporting the molecule, right? So it's either we bring the electricity to the hub or to the place where the hydrogen or the ammonia will be consumed, or we need to find a way or a location that big enough to justify building an infra that can support an economic transportation of the molecule from one place to another. The last is about the regulation, right? So what we've seen is that I don't want to talk too much about this, but what we've seen done in the other countries is an action on how to accelerate the adoption or the implementation of hydrogen economy. One example that we've seen is that in India, where last year they have announced for their grid to be available for players to produce renewable electricity and tap those power in any places where they want to produce green hydrogen or green ammonia. So this kind of arrangement will help industry players on participating in the green hydrogen or green ammonia market. These are just a deep dive of what what we as an industry player request to the government based on the phases of the industry itself. So as what Bu Febi mentioned, this already ongoing in the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. So but aside from the MEMR, some the decree or regulation from the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Transportation, and the Ministry of Industries will also be required because with hydrogen transportation, this fall under different ministries, right? And also environmental permits, for tapping into the water that we require to produce the hydrogen also need to be addressed through a separate decree from the Ministry of Environmental and Forestry. So so this is what we believe as the industry player for hydrogen need to be done in terms of regulation to support the adoption of the green hydrogen or green ammonia economy in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Taufik. Very interesting presentations as Pertamina have mapped out not only for the locations, but also the price and perhaps and policy as well that is expected from the government. And we now continue to our next speaker. She's the expert of fuel cell in Indonesia. I welcome Professor Dr. Enia Listiani Dewi. She is the president of Indonesia Association of Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Energy. I give this virtual space to Prof. Enia. Silakan, Prof.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Pak Riko. We still keep in touch, yeah. Regarding to this occasion, I'm to be honored to be here. And I think I want to share about this activity of our association, and hopefully this would be some information to you that would be complete of your information about the Indonesia's activity. So I'm sorry. I have trouble with this.
It's good, kok, Bu.
Huh?
Yeah, you can continue.
Wait. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Okay. It's you can see my slide now. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm representing the Indonesia Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Energy, which is the association that already has been registered in 2019, but we have an activity since 2007. So this community bringing the especially for the expert of the hydrogen related technology and related researcher and also industry that become our members. And you can access of our website on the www.ifhe or ID, and this is our industrial members and also several from academician and also from international. We joined with the International Association of Hydrogen Energy, which is led by US right now. And of course, we have a big relation with the BRIN and Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources and all of the parties. And for this occasion, I will share to you about the action of hydrogen in Indonesia. And we already heard from Pak Taufik and Bu Febi about the activity of hydrogen, and we are so very happy to have national energy strategy from Indonesia. Now how we can move from fossil to hydrogen is really hard to do, but we must go. And the role of the green hydrogen that mentioned by previously speakers, we need a support system to establishing the renewable energy, especially how we can convert it to the hydrogen. And also, if we want to move to the hydrogen as energy, so we must have a feedstock, the renewable resources to convert the hydrogen. So we have many potential of utilization of the hydrogen, especially for the industry, and for also for the transportation to meet the net zero emission. In our activity, we strongly suggest and push and assist the government that Indonesia needs an ecosystem of hydrogen economy. So to build this ecosystem, we do so much activity as association and also as a researcher, including many members. Of course, this ecosystem is strongly built by a national scenario, and then the technology innovation, and also how we can make a market creation. And we need a big understanding about the environmental effect. And of course, the last one is the investment. So how government should be go to the free carbon society that we want to. So first one, there is government need to give us a long-term signal that can increase investor to provide their investment to Indonesia. And of course, to encouraging the use of hydrogen in different applications. So we need a stimulate of commercial demand also. And there are risks to associate with the hydrogen, but there's so many things to do, including reducing their impact, including the to harmonize the standard and regulation, and also the important things. We must invest on the research and development to build our knowledge, to strengthen the understanding of hydrogen and its potential application. So we have also in the last June, Indonesia International Hydrogen Summit in Indonesia, which is a big event. And from this event, we realized that the industry is already come in Indonesia, and there is many countries that strongly support the Indonesia to become a global market player. Why in this level we must need a national hydrogen strategy, which is Bu Febi has already mentioned that this roadmap also have been talking about till the end of this year. And the national one is the three strategic as have been presented and the previous speakers. To detailing of this national strategy, our association suggested that we need a roadmap of hydrogen utilization, especially for industry and transportation, and then a roadmap for the industry itself. So we must have a local component to support this movement, this hydrogen economy. Then on the other hand, we also have to make a roadmap how we can convert the electron to the molecules. It means that how hydrogen could be an energy and some energy carrier in the industry. And of course, Indonesia have a big potential, as Pak Taufik mentioned. We have to move forward about the to produce the hydrogen, and maybe we can become a global player in the Asia or in the global. And I think this is the priority action that policy and the industry should be together. And then there are several jobs to do, which is the first one is national hydrogen strategy. I think this is already happened. And also we have a technical committee standard, which is very important. And Dr. Febi has already mentioned that we are going to build this. And well, this committee member should recognize the many standards of hydrogen utilization, including the ISO 197 and several from the hydrogen refilling station, and also the ammonia. And how about the industry? The industry now talking about the to build the hydrogen refilling station and also to have a hydrogen car. And we have also the scenario of how we can produce the blue and green hydrogen. And of course, we must thinking about the infrastructure of the hydrogen supply chain. So in last June, there is a soft launching of national hydrogen strategy, and hopefully this would be a great kick-off for our hydrogen movement and hydrogen action in Indonesia. And regarding to the demand of hydrogen right now, our calculation is to be around 1.2 5 until 1.8 million tons hydrogen per year, which is mostly have been used by fertilizer industry. And the other one is not really huge, but it is become increasing. From the SDM, it's predict to be 3 million, or I think in the 2040 it would be 1.7 million tons per year, and then it would be increased in the 2060 would be 33 million. So we have, our association also calculated that the demands will be increased until 32 million tons per year in the 2060. So we have also prediction that the user of this hydrogen in the future is transportation, which is the ammonia industry and several industry that use the hydrogen now. This is increased, but not really significant. The significance is consumed by transportation. So regarding to the Bappenas, the Ministry of Planning, national planning, we have a planning that 80% of hydrogen in the national capital, in new capital would be 80% in 2045, and then in the short term we will have 20% of hydrogen that used in the capitals. So in the national energy transition planning also mentioned that the green hydrogen is in the phase 1, phase 2, and even in the phase 4. So this is the first time, because since long time ago, since 20 years ago, I'm already tell about this hydrogen energy, but this Indonesia just starting, just know, and then won't accelerate to have the hydrogen and energy. This is I'm very happy to share to you about this national roadmap of our Indonesia planning. And also, as our association, we have Indonesia Hydrogen Roadmap that you can download from our website. And in this roadmap, we're mentioning that the first step of the market in Indonesia would be the export market, and then continuing the growing of the hydrogen production, then we can share a domestic market. So in the second step, so we need to establishing the social awareness. We need to establishing the domestic and international market in the next one. So the first step is the demonstration scale, a domestic scale production, but we can export it to the other countries. And with this roadmap, we can see that the first one is how we can convert the coal into this special blending with the hydrogen and ammonia. And also we have we will have a demonstration of fuel cell and hydrogen vehicle. And then in the long way, we can see that the electrolyzer is the main technology, the key technology for hydrogen production, which is we can produce the green hydrogen in the next. So how big the hydrogen development scale at here? We can see that until 2060, we need, and it's growing to be 40 gigawatt of hydrogen. And then in the short term, until in the next 7 years, until 2030, it would be a 10 megawatt scale. So we need support of green electricity to produce the hydrogen. That's why now it's many study have been done in Indonesia, more than 20. I see in the Bu Febi slide, there is so many study also. And in the first step, we expected that the replacement of gray hydrogen to become a green, and then the use of the hydrogen in the energy sector, not just the industrial sector still have gray hydrogen, but becoming a transition to be a green one. So this is the transition color of the hydrogen that we predicted until 2025. We still have a gray and brown, and then until 2030, hopefully Pertamina will accelerate the carbon capture. Then we can have the blue hydrogen, and in the 2030. This is the turning point of how we can reduce the price of the renewable energy. So in this 2030 is the turning point to have the green hydrogen. So we can establishing from now, and then we can create a social awareness from now. And also in the research field, we have many researchers that are doing the key technology of hydrogen production, such as electrolyzer, the green ammonia, co-firing biomass, and also fuel cells, including high temperature of fuel cells, etc. And we will have a pink hydrogen in the 2041. This is from nuclear, and then we can go to the net zero emission. So the last things I want to share to you about the our prediction of the ammonia. The ammonia infrastructure should be the main focus of the industry right now to accelerate the investment on a green one. So we predict that the domestic hydrogen market would be huge on 2040, and also we can distribute the ammonia since now, but I think the export market already big now in ammonia, but still in gray. So we can move the target of the green ammonia also and in the next several years. So the turning point, it's again 2030. So this is the illustration that how we can have utilization of hydrogen in 4 sectors. So we divided the first, power generation and grid balancing. We need the hydrogen to blending with coal or ammonia blending with coal, which is mainly, I think this is the PLN will do such kind of this coal reduction. And then for the transportation, we predict that in the early step, we need a light demonstration. And also the early adoption would be 2030. So we must have the hydrogen infrastructure, including the hydrogen refilling station, and also move to the hydrogen combustion. I think not only one uses of hydrogen in the transportation, we're using fuel cells, but we can use the combustion of hydrogen also. Then we can create the application of hydrogen in the marine and also in the long distance of transportation, especially for train. Yeah, now it's become a new activity in Indonesia. There's so much talking about the hydrogen application in the train. So the other one, of course, you already know about the industrial uses of hydrogen. And here we describe also the potential of residential building in the next, maybe it is later on, because the uses of hydrogen in the residential and building, it needs big social awareness of people to use the hydrogen. The last one, I will report to you that we have a declaration of the hydrogen ecosystem among stakeholders, which is it's very very great occasion that we have a hydrogen ecosystem declaration supported by many industry and also the Commission, the House Representative of Indonesia, and also from the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Bappenas, Ministry of BRIN itself, yeah, BRIN itself as a National Research and Innovation Agency, and many international industry also. So this is the last slide I want to share to you, that we must move to the action. Regarding to the National Council of Energy, they have targeted that 245,000 units of hydrogen that could be used in the vehicle. So this target would be 2035. And then from this detailed action, as previously mentioned, we have accreditation, we have the standard, we move forward to get that, and we move forward also to commercialize the hydrogen supply chain. If we're talking about especially for the transportation, in 2029, we must have 24,000 units of hydrogen. So hopefully there is, since joint declaration from this year, we will have a demonstration project of a hydrogen refilling station. Hopefully this planning would be, again, would be established in Indonesia in the next year. This is just the activity of our members, including BRIN, in PLN. We have a collaboration to talk about the floating PV that now at Cirata would become the next producer of the hydrogen also, and also we're doing assist to the co-firing of hydrogen and ammonia. Also, we collaborate with Pertamina to assist the hydrogen production from the geothermal, and hopefully this would be the next, the first one that produce the green hydrogen. And the last one in the transportation sector, we have also collaborated with several industry now, not only Toyota, we have several one. We want to accelerate our hydrogen car that already have been established and have been produced by our researcher in BRIN. And to reducing the dieselization, we have a small program that we want to create the application of fuel cells in small islands. So this is still a research collaboration. Thank you so much that hopefully you can join and become our member also and accelerate the hydrogen movement in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Enya, for the very interesting presentation. And prior to continue to our next speaker, I would like to inform you that Mr. Xiao Xiaolei is suddenly unavailable to join this event due to health condition, health matters, and we're very sorry to inform you that. So this session, we will continue to question and answer session. I see already one question from the floor, but before I go to the questions, I think I have the spare of time to give maybe 5 minutes for Pak Surya Dharma to give some comments, Pak, about hydrogen in Indonesia. Pak Surya Dharma was the president of Indonesia Geothermal Association, and he holds lots of experiences in renewable development in Indonesia. Pak Dharma, please, Pak, any comments regarding hydrogen in Indonesia? 5 minutes.
Ya. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to all of you. I just invited by Pak Wiranto to be one of the to give a short comment maybe, but I really not expert in this session actually. What I would like to say is what Professor Enya has presented. It's really nice and really good. I think, Professor Enya, I think you have a good plan of action until 2035. This is really very related to the what we plan in the our national net zero emission target by 2060 at least. So from Bu Andrea, I think Bu Febi, you also have presented the master plan of the energy transformation to reach the net zero emission target, and mainly the role of the hydrogen as well to be included. I work for the geothermal energy for more than 30 years, I think, so far. And what Bu Enia mentioned, that Pertamina Geothermal would, I think, have initiated to produce and maybe initiate to shift and produce the green hydrogen from one of the Pertamina geothermal areas in Ulubulu. I work in Ulubulu so long time ago when I was in Pertamina since 1980s until 2012. Then when the Pertamina Ulubulu produced the electricity about 220 megawatt. And besides that, of course, the hydrogen is really potential to as a side product of the geothermal activities for the power. What we have now is not only for the future target of the hydrogen, I think we have to start right now. And Bu Enia, I think, really the expert, and is also the chairwoman of the IF Hydrogen Association in Indonesia. Ya, Bu Enia, ya. I really did not give much more comment on that, but what we see, I just returned from the World Geothermal Congress last week in Beijing, China, in which geothermal and green hydrogen is one of the international target, you know. Beside the power plant and other direct use of the geothermal activities. So the green hydrogen, I think we have to start here. Indonesia have more than 24 gigawatt for the power plant potential of the geothermal. But of course, beside that, we also can produce more and more the green hydrogen. I think Bu Enia should work aggressively, not only, you know, business as usual should propose to the Pertamina, including, I think, Star Energy and Chevron, because Chevron also start to work to come back to deal with the geothermal in Indonesia. So I think a lot of potential on that. Maybe that I can comment on on today's. But let's work together. I would like to push that the green hydrogen from geothermal is also a really great potential for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the comments, Pak Surya Dharma. Okay, I'm going to go straight to the questions that already submitted by the participants. There is one question from Pak Bambang. The question is addressed for Pak Taufik. Pak Taufik, the question is, can you give us an update on the green hydrogen pilot plant in Ulubulu? Has the construction already started, and is it possible for the pilot plant to enter commercialization stage in the near future? Silakan Pak Taufik.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, we have not started the construction. The reason was that we just received the environmental permit from the Ministry of Environmental and Forestry last month. So we have the once we have the permit, then right now we are doing the FEED, the front end engineering design for the facility. We are targeting that construction will start in January next year, so that this should be completed before the end of the end of next year, Pak. So that's about the Ulu Belu. Yeah, I mean, for us, it took a while for the environmental permit to be approved. But in relation to the second question, right, is it possible for the pilot plant to enter the commercialization? The answer is yes. So in the environmental permit that we applied, we have also included our plan for the commercial phase of the development, so that the permit is covered already. Yeah, so so we apply once, but we have already covered if we want to go into the commercial stage of producing hydrogen in this location. And right now we are exploring with our partners on producing hydrogen from using the resources from Ulu Belu as well for the market, right? So the plan is there. It's just a matter of managing the stakeholders. We are now engaging with ESDM, to have the regulation supporting us. Also with Ibu Enia team to have the expertise on the technological part of the electrolyzer in specific. And with the market, we are engaging our partners, which in this scenario will also serve as the off-taker for the green hydrogen. So once we have completed all of that, then this will be a project in the near future.
Right. Thank you. I think I'm gonna get one question from Pia Gosweiler. I think this question is addressed for all speakers, but I'm gonna put this question for Prof. Enia and Pak Taufik. Interesting question about the upcoming election next year. And what do you see about the next government? Is there some guarantee that these goals, renewable goals, and these hydrogen goals will be pursued by the new government as well? Maybe I can go to Prof. Enia first. Silakan, Prof.
It's kind of out of topic, but I think it's a nice question that I heard also about the next government election would be the challenge that we must goes to the renewable, and I heard all of the president election participant mention about the increasing the renewable energy potential. And also, I think in the national capital, we already have a planning about the implementation of hydrogen. So it would be necessary to have. And the answer of the how we can go to the net zero is hydrogen. So I think there is no way without the hydrogen, and I think we can move forward even from the gray hydrogen itself, not only for the green hydrogen. Green hydrogen is nice to have right now. If we have a big investment, it's really great. But I think we must have a time to make social awareness, to understand about the safety of hydrogen, because that's an important issue, the safety of hydrogen. We can start with the gray one. If we're talking about the life cycle assessment, the green is not really green. So I think we must start anyway with the hydrogen, and hopefully the big potential of renewable would be accelerated. And I think the base load of the electricity in Indonesia should addressing the geothermal and also the hydro power. So it would be necessary to have. Thank you, Pak Riko.
Yeah, thank you, Bu. Pak Taufik, maybe you want to answer to that?
I cannot comment on that, but I bound by company policy on not commenting on that such a question, but I apologize.
Okay, totally understood, but since you are actually part of the government. All right. Okay. Okay, I think we still have 3 minutes before we go to the next session. Still same question from Pia Gosweiler. It mentions about nuclear energy in Indonesia, and of course using this nuclear energy for hydrogen production. From your perspectives, Ibu and Pak Taufik, why we are so hard to have nuclear in Indonesia? Should we pursue to the renewable that already developed right now, like PV, wind, and geothermal, or we can go to the nuclear for this hydrogen? Maybe
Okay.
we can start from Pak Taufik, Pak. Silakan.
Yeah, I'm not the expert on nuclear, but I will let Ibu Enia to answer in detail, right? But from what we understood, right, we have initiated a joint study with Danish companies on pink or nuclear-based ammonia. So I think why we should do that, right? Because right now the location of the renewable energy sources might not correlate to the location of where the demand will be, of the hydrogen will be utilized, right? So with the current technology of nuclear, I mean, this can be built almost everywhere, right? As long as not, with some safety constraint, this can be built in almost everywhere. So that's why I think we should also go to nuclear because of that versatility of the, where the power can be generated. Mungkin maybe Bu Enia can add more into that, Bu. Thank you.
Yeah, continuing Pak Taufik, yeah. I do agree with Pak Taufik opinion that we can go to nuclear because it's now it can be delivered on small scale and can be built anywhere, and also we have a big potential if we go to nuclear. And the use of nuclear, if we're talking about the hydrogen, the nuclear, the hydrogen byproduct that produced from nuclear is the cheapest one. So we can go by nuclear, but some people have misunderstanding of how we can produce hydrogen from nuclear. So if we're talking about the hydrogen produced from nuclear, just from the electricity and by the electrolyzer, it is too expensive if we go like that. But we must go by thermolysis. That's a kind of thermochemicals reaction that can produce by the heat of the nuclear power. So it's better, and that would be the cheapest one. But I think it is, it's need. Again, we're talking about the safety. We're talking about the knowledge enrichment, and I think it would be. But the government setting the target start from 2041, yeah. So. Now the target becoming earlier. I heard that about 2032, we will have 2 giga of nuclear power plant. Now at BRIN it start to talking about the nuclear infrastructure. 2 giga in 2032. So I think if we build a small scale of the nuclear power plant, it should be start from the next year also. So it would be interesting topic, Pak Riko. and hopefully nuclear will be a part of Indonesia energy.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have reached the time constraint that has been set by the committee. And with that, I close the session, and I would like to thank to Prof. Enia and Pak Taufik for their presence today, for giving such interesting information and presentations to us. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to wish Prof. Enia and Pak Taufik a great success on your future dealings, and see you again next time. Thank you. So we continue to our next session. We already joining with us the first speaker that will talk about the current hydrogen production and market in Indonesia. We'll be speaking Mr. Janarko Chandra, Director of PT Samator Indogas Tbk. Pak Janarko, I give this virtual stage to you, Pak. Silakan, Pak Chandra.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Syahan. Thank you for EKONID that already invite us to give a presentation. Is my voice audible, Pak?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly, Pak.
So I will share my presentation. I don't have any permission to share the content in the.
Oh, okay. Maybe the.
You already have the access. Pak Janarko, you already have the access.
You can retry maybe, Pak Janarko.
Okay. Gak ada akses ini. Sorry, Pak. My access is already gone, Pak. You don't have any permission, Pak, to share the content.
Okay.
Wait.
Can help Pak Uranto, maybe Pak Jonas.
Or maybe we go to the next speaker, then we will solve this technical issue.
Maybe you can send the presentation to us, Pak.
Yes, since we didn't get any presentation material from Pak Janarko, then you can go to the next speaker while we got the presentation material from Mr. Janarko.
Okay. Oh, already showing.
Already.
Yeah, perfect. Please, Pak Janarko, silakan, Pak.
Okay. So I want to present regarding the current hydrogen production and market in Indonesia. Yeah. So before that, I will introduce who we are. We are is Samator Gas Industry, and Samator is actually over 100 years experience in Indonesia, and before is a Dutch company, and then goes to the Indonesian government in the name of Aneka Gas, and then take over by Messer, and in 2004 take back from Messer to Indonesia by Aneka Gas, our Samator. Yeah, and then we are a public company, and now our name is Samator Indogas. Yeah. If you see the picture in the left is our CEO now, Mr. Ahmad Harsono, and President Joko Widodo, yeah, during the COVID time. And then we are producing air gas and also non-air gas. So we have a product is nitrogen, oxygen, argon. We have also the hydrogen, nitrous oxide, and so on. So we are a nationwide network. So we have from North Sumatra until North Maluku. Yeah. So in our production, we have two process. Yeah, we have a steam methane reforming, and we have also the water electrolysis. If we see why many production in Indonesia using the steam methane reforming, because the investment cost is, although it is high, but the operational cost is lower, very low, yeah, compared to the water electrolysis. And raw material, normally in our production, we use the gas alam or natural gas. And if we saw to the other company, they are also using the methanol. And the product comes out is hydrogen and CO2 in steam methane reforming, but in water electrolysis, we get the hydrogen and oxygen. For the electricity, steam methane reforming needs is very low, below 0.3. And for water electrolysis is very high, between 4 to 5 kilowatt hour per normal meter cubic. For the CO2 emission, steam methane reforming is high. For water electrolysis, we can say no CO2 emission. Regarding the hydrogen production capacity in Indonesia in 2022, if we see the number is around 44.8 million kilogram per year. Mostly is the oleochemical industry, and the second is the fertilizer, not the fertilizer, but the hydrogen gas industry like us, Samator and the others company, which is in industrial gases. And the third one is the fertilizers and others, and then the methanol and others, around 1%. If we saw in the left, you can see the steam reforming process. We can see the now, and the right side is the electrolysis. Current hydrogen market mostly using the green hydrogen, and how to transport to the customer. We use the hydrogen tube trailer or the cradle hydrogen or piping. It depends on how many or how much quantity they use. The market is normally we supply to the refinery, yeah, like oleo refinery, and also some refinery for petrol refinery. We have a chemicals market also in Indonesia, ammonia, methanol, and others. Yeah. And you can see also there is also other industry that needs something like a glass industry, yeah, and also metal processing. They use also the hydrogen, and also there is also the forming gases, yeah. They use also the hydrogen. That's all that I want to present now. Thank you. Maybe there is a question from your guys.
All right. Thank you, Pak Janarko, for the presentation. I'm gonna continue to our next speaker. The next speaker is Matthias Rudloff, the CEO of Ambartech AG, that will speak to us about energy and hydrogen storage development in Europe. Sir Matthias, this virtual space is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much for your kind introduction. Thank you for the opportunity of sharing some European aspects with you to Southeast Asia. We as a company, we work in the field of energy storage and transportation. When talking about hydrogen, you will find that there are so many opportunities of usage. We already heard a lot about that, and and if you go into more detail, you will find that nearly every hydrogen application needs either storage or transportation. And that's we have identified a couple of specific challenges around hydrogen storage and transportation, and where we want to give an answer with our technology. So one of the questions from a European perspective is very important, is how we will get hydrogen to Europe. So you may know that Europe always has been an energy importing continent, or mainly Germany as a country, and this will not change in the new green world. So we will be able to produce around 1/3 of the hydrogen we will need in Germany by ourselves from our own local resources. That means that we have to import 2/3 of that. And so when hearing about export activities in Indonesia, so this is quite good to know, even if the distance to Europe is pretty far, but you have markets closer to you where the same topics and challenges are on the table. So you can also ask the same question: how does the green hydrogen get to Japan, to Korea, and to Singapore or other centers in Southeast Asia? So this is an issue, and you may know that our chancellor is traveling around the world and looking for hydrogen producers, hydrogen production partners in the world. He went to Africa, he went to Canada, and he also went to Asia. And what is not really on the table is how the hydrogen finally shall be transported. And there are a couple of opportunities on the table, which is about liquid hydrogen, it's about ammonia, it's about LOHC. And we think that none of them is really fully convincing. Even if everybody's talking about ammonia, this is really a really good idea when you will try to replace gray ammonia for fertilizer production or other chemical applications. But when it comes to pure hydrogen for energy purposes or for the transport purposes, there are a couple of questions around this ammonia. So we have the vision to offer an alternative in transporting the hydrogen via maybe in on the one hand in a containerized form, and on the other hand in as a bulk. So the second challenge we are facing is what about what about energy storage? So if you really want to convert an economy to fully green power, you have to rely on solar energy and wind energy, and as you know, they are not always available. So that means you need some kind of storage, and this can be done via hydrogen, but there are again a couple of challenges around that, especially with the existing technologies. The efficiency is not satisfying. So there, with our storage approach, we can offer a pretty good solution for power storage. And the third emphasis I want to aim at is how to get ships CO2 neutral in the future. The maritime sector is responsible for around 2% of the global climate gas emissions. So this is also an important sector, and we with our solution can offer a good tank alternative compared to other solutions to enter and to solve this problem. So how do we do that? What is specific around our technology? We are talking about hydrogen storage, and we do the storage of energy by the help of iron oxide. So now it becomes a little bit technical, but there are a lot of technicians here among us, so you will probably be able to follow. We work on the base of iron oxide. We have iron oxide in the middle of our storage tank, and if you put hydrogen in, the hydrogen goes through the storage, grabs the oxygen from the structure and leaves the storage again. So that means when the storage is completely filled, you don't have any hydrogen in there. It's just iron. And this is an important issue in terms of safety. So if you want to transport our containers, you are not transporting a dangerous good. It's just a simple container. And if you want to build huge hydrogen storage applications, the permitting is much easier than with conventional hydrogen storage systems. So we in Europe, we have a specific rule. If you want to store more than 5 tons of hydrogen on one site, permitting becomes very complicated. This can be simplified if you use our storage. So no hydrogen inside the storage. The other thing is you get out water, steam, and that means you can reuse this water in the electrolyzer. Especially when talking about importing energy to industrial centers of the world. What we really want to get is the energy, but what we don't want to grab is the water. Because in the desert regions of the world, you have a lot of solar power available, but what you don't have is water. So what we take is the energy, but what we do not take is the water. We leave it on site. You can recycle it. You can reuse it in the electrolyzer. And when you, as I mentioned, you get back steam. This comes out with 600 degrees Celsius. This can be directly reused in high temperature solid oxide electrolyzers. They operate in the same temperature level. So you can close the loop there and reuse the steam directly, which increases the efficiency of the electrolyzer significantly. You end up with an electrolyzer efficiency of at 85 to 90%. Another final topic here in terms of quality demands of to the hydrogen, we don't care about impurities in the hydrogen. So that means electrolyzers may be simplified significantly. We don't care about water. We don't care about carbon traces related to maybe hydrogen production from natural gas or from bio mass-based applications. So our storage is not just a storage, it's also a cleaning unit. And yeah, we don't care about pressure, so we can work with very low pressure hydrogen here. And on the other side, we can give back hydrogen with up to 100 bar without using any hydrogen compressor in the process. So this is how the unloading works. You have to inject steam, and then the hydrogen is set free exactly in the moment when you need it, and then it's available in the first step in a mixture with steam. But part of our technology or unloading unit is that we for sure clean it up and provide the hydrogen quality you need for your specific application. So this is the total magic about this technology. There are some specific advantages here in terms of energy density. So what you can see here is how many kilowatt hours of hydrogen can be stored in 1 kilogram of storage, and how many kilowatt hours can be stored in 1 liter of storage. And you can see our technology is pretty compact. So we have a very high energy density. So to summarize the benefits, when working with this technology, you can store the hydrogen in a very compact way. You have a lot of efficiency advantages in combination with the electrolyzer, and it's sustainable, especially as we just use iron as a material, and it's a very safe and easy permitting approach. So in the different sectors, we could talk a lot about other applications. So, but today I think we don't have the time. So if the organizers agree, I will be happy to share my presentation and distribute it to all of you. You can go through that in detail. Just the main message here. There are a lot of questions what is important in terms of transportation. and you can find out for which purpose the best use, or what's the best medium for which purpose. As we mentioned, as we discussed already, the cost of regional hydrogen transport, you can see with our system we can lower them significantly by factor 10 for decentralized hydrogen applications. If it comes to larger vessels, so the approach is very specific and very effective. If it comes to energy storage, you also have a big range of opportunities, but a lot of advantages with our approach here, and especially what I already mentioned for power-to-power solutions. Hydrogen systems have the disadvantage generally that you lose a lot of energy when converting power to hydrogen and hydrogen back to power. So the classical systems, all mentioned here in blue, you end up with the overall power-to-power efficiency of 35%. With our approach, you can double the efficiency and come back to in the area of 65%. So this is the potential, and this is really the solution for specific islands independent from the grid, for instance, so to replace diesel generators by hydrogen-based systems, for instance. There you need the high efficiency. So what kind of products do we offer? What you see here is the size or the volume of the storage material we have inside our storage vessel. The standard unit we are talking about is a 20-foot standard container, which contains 6,000 liters of storage material. You can store 600 kilogram of hydrogen with that, so that means it's 20 megawatt hours. You can put 2 of these containers on one truck, so that means you transport 1.2 tons of hydrogen on one truck. And this is then available for your applications. You have a bigger unit for higher pressure, and we can talk about large-scale units on a request. So just a few examples on that. So when talking about large-scale chemical facilities, based on solar power, for instance, you have to survive the night. So you need some short-term intermediate hydrogen storage. And if you think about converting the hydrogen to any chemical, here we have the example of converting solar power to methanol or to synthesis gas. I don't want to go into the process details here, but just to give the message that compared to the classical route you have here with the kind of pressurized intermediate hydrogen storage, we can simplify the process significantly with our technology, because we include cleaning aspects, and we include compressing aspects, and we include, in this specific case, the mixture or converting hydrogen and CO in synthesis gas route. So, and we increase the efficiency with that. So this is one example for large-scale applications. Another one is in the steel industry. So it's quite easy to integrate our system into the steel industry. We really want or need green products in Europe. So every steel plant will be converted to green production. The only way to do that is with green hydrogen. So the steel mills are talking about direct reduction, and this is exactly the process we do inside our small storage. So this is an excellent opportunity to support steel mills on the conversion way to green production. And as I remember, one of the previous speakers, where we saw the picture which hydrogen applications may be already viable pretty in a short-term perspective. I remember that the steel mills were pretty good on the right-hand side, so pretty close to competitiveness. So just talking about a little bit about our project or where we are in. So as we heard, hydrogen transport is one challenge. One project we are currently discussing in India is how to transport hydrogen from a 300 megawatt solar power plant to a hydrogen hub. So 300 megawatt is quite a nice installation, but it's not big enough to combine it directly with the chemical plant on that side. So the question is how to get the hydrogen to bigger refineries or bigger facilities, and we defined a kind of rolling pipeline. That means we use an existing railway, and we put 100 of our containers every hour on a train, send the train to the hub, and then you have one train per hour during the daytime, and during the nighttime the train goes back over a distance of 200 kilometers. And if you do the overall calculations on transport costs, they become really acceptable. So we end up in the area of I would say 0.2, 0.3 dollar per kilogram of hydrogen transported, which seems to be acceptable and brings green hydrogen much closer to competitiveness towards gray hydrogen. So yeah, then we have for sure projects combined with natural gas. Natural gas can be converted to hydrogen and fixed carbon. There are technologies for that, and if you then want to use the hydrogen, then you can store and transport it in our container. The Canadian project is around that to take care of so to say off-grid natural gas sources. They are too far away from a pipeline, so they cannot be used. But if you are able to convert that to turquoise hydrogen in this specific case, the usage is possible. Yeah, and so there I can talk the whole day about specific projects and applications where we are working on, and I think a couple of them might be also of interest for your country. So yeah, this is a very short overview on storage and transportation from a European perspective with our specific technology. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have further questions, you're happy to welcome or to contact myself or our representative in Southeast Asia, Walter Zevas, who is also on the call today. Yeah, so, and if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Matthias, for very interesting presentation regarding hydrogen transportation innovation. And I'm going to straight jump to the questions. I suggest this is a very interesting session as there are many questions in this session. I'm going to pick the first question from Ricky that is addressed for Matthias. Question for you, Matthias. How much dollars per kilogram for the transport? Maybe I can elaborate a little bit further. How much is the highest, perhaps, that you experience from your projects, the cost of the per kilogram? And maybe you can hold to the before answering, because there is also one question from Pak Janarko itself. Can you inform us, Matthias, the pressure of your containers, of your storage technology? And the question for Pak Janarko, there is a question from Pak Bambang.
Maybe we should start answering. So let's first talk about the costs. So for sure, okay. This really depends on the project you are building. So we have small projects where you have just one to 5 hour storage containers for stationary applications for this power solutions on an island. So there the situation is completely different compared to that what I described from India. So and then so the range and depends on the number of loading and unloading. So what we did as a comparison is this specific train example I explained, and there I would say this is something in the area of 20 to 30 cents per kilogram. Hydrogen transported, and this is all, and on the intercontinental transport. So in one example we examined from the Middle East to Central Europe, which is about 8,000 kilometers of transport distance. There we are in the area of between $1 and $1.50 per kilogram. So that should be feasible for the smaller projects. So for sure it's higher, but in this case this is the area. So then the second question was on the pressure. So as I mentioned, the unloading, the loading is with low pressure hydrogen. So we need less than 0.5 bar. And for the unloading on the other side, we can offer up to 100 bar unloading pressure. The pressure and while when the storage is filled, is without any pressure. So you should you transport containers without any pressure, and this is the reason why we can say this is not a dangerous good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Matthias, for your swift response.
You had a third question, so I interrupted you. Yeah?
I'm going to go to the question addressed for Pak Janarko first. Okay. Okay. Pak Janarko, a question from Pak Bambang. At the moment, have Samator produce hydrogen from electrolysis, Pak? If not, will there be in the future? Please, Pak.
Yes, in our company we have several electrolysis, but this one are a small capacity, around 50 thermal cubic meter per hour.
Okay, so you already use electrolysis, but in a small scale, yeah, Pak?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right. Getting more interesting. Lots of people. Okay. Let me see. Please stay with me. Okay. From Pak Bambang to Matthias. Can you elaborate the minimum size of, let's say, the containers for your technology to be effectively implemented, Matthias? Please.
Yeah, so we see this 20-foot standard container as our standard product, and as this will finally end up in a serious production, so the costs will be significantly low, and we see this as the standard size for a lot of applications. When it comes to large scale ammonia facilities or methanol facilities for this short-term intermediate storage, we would then say, okay, this is a specific design, this should not be done in a container. So we were asked to store about 50 tons of hydrogen or 100 tons of hydrogen for a certain period of time. And we said, okay, yes, we can do that with our containers. So we can supply 180 of our containers. But this is a little bit funny. So we say for these specific applications, we design larger vessels and related to large-scale facilities. So, but there are a lot of applications with this 20-foot containers, which that can be realized in an economically reasonable way.
Okay. Thank you, Matthias, for the answer. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize since I already reached the time limit of the session. I have to end the session, a very interesting session indeed from Matthias and Pak Janarko. I would like to say thank you very much to Matthias and Pak Janarko for joining this today online seminar. We wish you all a very great success on your future endeavors. Thank you. Thank you, Pak Janarko and Matkas.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Right. Now we continue to our next session. We have also interesting session where we gonna talk about financing. Already present with us, Mr. Riza Suarga, the chairman of Indonesia Carbon Trade Association. Pak Riza Suarga will speak to us about carbon emissions trading systems to accelerate the clean energy transition. Pak Riza, this virtual stage is yours. Silakan, Pak.
Thank you, moderator. Would the presentation be available for me? Because I think I have sent the slides.
Okay, maybe from the committee can help to show the presentation of Pak Riza.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, everybody, audience, and mostly thank you for GIZ and EKONID for inviting me. Actually, I'm not really a technical person in terms of talking about green hydrogen, but I think the opportunity is for us to be able to foresee how good or how the opportunity of getting the carbon credits out of that. So I'm going to talk more, I think, about the opportunity, especially for Indonesian market. Maybe we can go for the next slide. Next slide, please. It's not moving. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. Well, anyway, there's a couple of things that I would like to explain. Number one, of course, Indonesia, as you know, today is the historical remark of launching the Indonesia Carbon Exchange. So we have just witnessed the president himself was inaugurating the launching, and hopefully this opportunity of green hydrogen carbon credits eventually can also be part or taking part in that sense. As you can see, maybe I'm not going to explain every slides, but carbon credits that basically generated from renewable energy can be eligible for either the compliance or emission trading scheme, but also we are not neglecting the voluntary scheme ones that I think many of you already also familiar with. Next, please. And yeah, this is just how you few steps of calculating scope 3. This is just a very normative steps to calculate that. Next, please. And this is what probably will be interested to know. As you know, Indonesia have a baseline emission about 2.8 billion tons until 2030. That is the baseline emission. And then the target for reaching our NDC up to 2030 is 29%. Now it's being lifted up a little bit to 31.4, if I'm not mistaken. So the amount is around 834 million tons until 2030, which is yearly it delivers 83.4 million tons per year. This is what I'm just illustrating how the world global emission on the left side And then for the voluntary buyers of takers on the upper right are some of the multinational companies that really actively involved in buying or investing in carbon offsetting. Next, please. This is the gap that we are seeing. This is also the information from one of the largest commodity traders that has been actively involved in doing carbon offsetting and investing in carbon projects. So we need about up to 160 times to reach the 2030 goals using or seeing the supply that what we have today. So I think the opportunity even for green hydrogen or any other renewable energy sources, I think it's very widely open. Of course, I think, I don't know the technical calculations or the economics. I think there are quite investment as well along the way, but this has always been a good opportunity. Next, please. And this is just an illustration of how the Indonesian powerhouse, I can say, from the forestry and other land use. I'm not saying or not discouraging you to do the transition of energy, but if you can see for Indonesia perspective, the potential of what we have on the forestry sectors is really amazing. As you can see right now, Indonesia have 120 million hectares in total of forest resources, and by which today there are already 12 million, like what I explained in the bottom left, 12 million hectares allocated for carbon projects that will deliver somewhere around 240 million tons per annum of carbon emission reduction or carbon credits. So, and that is around 480 projects altogether. So if you calculate that and refer to what I have explained, 83.4 requirement to reach our NDC, I think Indonesia is far have a surplus in that respect. So I'm not saying that you don't, every one of you, no need to worry about the transition energy, but I think the sources are quite sufficient enough for us to going into and stepping into the transition energy purposes. Even we can be what we call net exporter of carbon credits. Next, please. So this is just going to go through very quickly about typical carbon markets. There are mandatory, voluntary markets, and quasi market. What has been happening, I think probably some of you also have followed what is the recent updates and developments. Indonesia somehow are taking things quite seriously. Indonesian government especially want to make sure that carbon credits that being transacted or being traded to overseas buyers are truly have a high integrity and can be justified legally in such a manner. We are not going to deliver something that tends to be hoax or junk carbon credits, like what we have been hearing in many of the developments over the media. So I'm not going to mention countries in other continents, but there are cases of such practices. So I think what we can look, I think in the future also there is what we call regulated, so-called regulated voluntary market as well. But the purpose, I think positively, we want to make sure that everything is in orderly fashion and nothing or buyers have to be feel more comfortable when buying Indonesian carbon credits. Next. yeah, this is also a typical supply and demand who are buying the carbon credits. Next. And this is also how the transformation and what will be the benefits and what the annual effects of everything when the economy start rolling. This is the model that being used for productive forests only for the total area of 51 million hectares. Next, please. And this is also another financial illustration, how the Article 6, non-Article 6, and what the difference between the two. This is just simply to give you some ideas, the economics and the benefits that what we can have. Next. There are key drivers, of course, for Indonesia to ensure this transformation. We make sure that there's methodologies, and I think our president also have eloquently and ensure that everything that being traded must meet the international standards, and there is never ever any restrictions of within the presidential decree or ministerial decree for any international transactions or international tradings. So I think Indonesia will hopefully, Mr. President in this morning also mentioned, hopefully we can be the hub for this region for carbon credits. Next, please. This is some of the example of a project in West Kalimantan that also can really tells you I know I'm bringing some we're talking about green hydrogen, but I think it's also interesting if we can just bring some of the story, a success story of how we can deliver carbon credits from the follow sectors. Next. Yeah, this is typically of carbon credits projects can meet at least 13 out of 17 sustainable development goals. Next. And this is also a very, very nice example of one of my previous projects. Sometimes people really don't believe what are the quality of carbon credits look like or what they delivers and what are the co-benefits and additionalities that can create. When we took over in 2015 and start the project in 2016, there are only rumors there are some tiger being around in the area. So once we intervene in 2019, we finally got certified by Vera, and we saw the first sightings of a tiger foot mark, like you see in the left. But then 8 months later, we can see the exciting images from the camera trap that we installed after 8 months being implemented. So it is a true and exciting experience. Next. So this is what was happening today. The IDX Carbon Exchange or Indonesia Carbon Exchange, managed by the Indonesia Stock Exchange, has been officially launched today, and I think there are windows of opportunity for any renewable energy such as green hydrogen to be part of it as well. Next. This is, I think, when you talk about ETS or emission trading scheme, we talk about compliance, and there are, of course, some allowances that we like to be traded. And of course, there are some compliance companies regulated with the emission caps, but not less important, the voluntary ones that we can generate carbon credits, that not less exciting as well. Next. This is also an example of from the energy sector with the preparation of the energy ministry with the players, with the major players on the CCS and CCUS. I'm just giving you the example how dynamics the products of carbon credits that are going to be traded in the exchange, but also bilaterally because it is also allowed by the decree or by the regulations. There are big potential also for CCS and CCUS with the green color one are the one that already ongoing, and the total oil and gas sectors like you see on the red color is 27 million tons per annum. Next, please. This is what I explained before. The two already ongoing, Gundi and Sukawati, and the under preparation is the purple ones, Abadi and Tangguh, and the other potential are in the yellow ones. Next. And again, if you go back to the IDX with the Indonesia Carbon Exchange, this is also typical products that they're going to be traded, and how the green hydrogen carbon credits hopefully also can be taken part of it. Next. Next, please. I'm just gonna. Yeah, this is basically the four different typology of futures in the Indonesian carbon exchange, where there's going to be like auction market, regular trading market, negotiated trading, and they have also marketplace. Each and every one already available in the exchange. Next, please. Yeah, I think let's just go through. The product features are what it looks like. Basically, how the difference between allowances and the offsets, as you can see on the left and the right, are basically how the structure is going to look like. Next. So now I think this is close to the end of my presentation. There are concerns about Indonesian regulation because I think the government takes quite a long time to consolidate, and finally, I think piece by piece, it starts to reveal, and hopefully in a positive way, that we want to make sure that international tradings will be commences and will be traded in such a comfortable ways. And of course, it creates a good powerhouse economy and makes investor friendly and attractive to investors and traders. So, but I think in the left side, it shows you, even though it probably sounds very complicated at the beginning, but I think from the regulation wise, it gives much clearer picture on moving forward about secure property rights, foreign investment friendly, free tradable credits, and so on and so on. And on the right side, I think we also have encountered some bottlenecks within the international standards. As you can see, some of the international standards now take such a long time to be certified, to be verified, to be validated. Some even takes about 3 years, even more. So I think hopefully with the Indonesian registry and the Indonesian standard that is being mandated to be no more than 4 months, hopefully that can give you also a new way, a new pathway of getting things done. Of course, Indonesian standards need to prove themselves because there are no price discovery yet. I think they admit that they need some support and from international players and also off-takers and investors. Next, please. So what should be done next? Indonesia Carbon Trade Associations, with which I am the chairman, already signed a joint task force with Vera, for example, And this is what we are doing right now. We are trying to harmonize the methodologies and then also aligning the registries, and also we are trying to synergize the VVBs or the validators. The reason why I think the Indonesian government strictly regulated that all Indonesian carbon credits that being sold overseas or any transaction must register at our national register system. But we know that international buyers are still requiring international standards such as, for example, FERA and World Standard. That's why we're trying to put things together, harmonizing them, aligning them, synchronizing them, etc., etc. So I think people will feel more comfortable and secure. Next, for conclusion and a recommendation, I think a lot of people asking whether carbon offsetting is part of greenwashing or part of the whether we need it or not. I think there are many studies that that explain a party or institution that is going forward into transition energy with carbon offsetting at the beginning have a tendency of getting their goal target. The rate is, I think, twice, at least twice faster than if you're not doing together with the carbon offsetting. Next. Well, yeah, that's about it. My presentation. And for any one of you, this is also IDCTA is conducting what we call Carbon Digital Conference in Bali. Hopefully, some of the audience here can also be participating in that. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Pak Riza, for the presentation. So I'm gonna continue to our next speaker. Already joining with us, Mr. Joseph Poh, Managing Director, Head of Energy, Chemicals and Healthcare Sector Solutions Group at United Overseas Bank, or known as UOB. Sir Joseph, the stage is yours.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can see my slides.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, good. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, members of German-Indonesia Chamber of Industry and Commerce. My name is Joseph, and I head up the Energy, Chemicals and Healthcare Sector team at UOB. So before UOB, I also spent about a decade at an energy company across various business and operational roles. So I think I understand a little on the needs and requirements of energy companies. Today, it is my pleasure to introduce you to UOB and our low-carbon hydrogen financing solutions. So UOB is a leading pan-Asian bank, and we have been operating in Indonesia since 1956. So we have a long history here. Originally, we were Bank Buana, but we changed our name to PT Bank UOB Indonesia in 2011. So UOB has built lasting relationships with our customers in both the corporate banking and retail banking space. And this has been further enhanced by our recent acquisition of Citi's consumer business in Indonesia. So with Indonesia committing to net zero emissions by 2060, UOB has also rolled out a suite of sustainable financing frameworks and solutions to support our Indonesian clients' decarbonization and transition needs. So I'll start by doing a quick recap on the outlook on Indonesia's low-carbon hydrogen ambitions. So on the supply side, Indonesia aspires to install about 300 megawatt of hydrogen generation capacity between 2031 to 2040. And to do so, about $800 million of investments are required annually from 2031 onwards. So I think this presents many opportunities for project developers, equipment suppliers, EPC contractors, and also the downstream hard-to-abate sectors looking to switch to lower carbon fuels like hydrogen. On the demand side, green hydrogen will play a key role in the industrial usage, mostly in decarbonizing hard-to-abate sectors such as iron, steel, chemical, and aluminium sector. Based on IRENA's forecast, hydrogen demand will grow between 7 to 9 times between 2030 to 2050, depending on which energy scenario is being considered. For the road transport sector, it is also expected there will be demand of 8 terawatt-hours by 2026, growing to 27 terawatt-hours by 2031. All in all, we can see there's quite a fair bit of excitement for the low-carbon hydrogen sector. So over here, we highlight some of the announcement on potential low-carbon hydrogen projects by many top-tier names. So these include SOEs like PLN, Pupuk, Pertamina, and these are in collaboration with many big players like Equa, Augustus, Chevron, Keppel, Samsung, Hyundai, HDF, and FFI. So this highlights the significance of these potentials. So next, we'll talk about some of the UOB financing solutions to support the low carbon hydrogen growth. Okay, to begin with, we'll come to how UOB can support our ambitions in pursuing the low carbon hydrogen sector with our financing frameworks. So at UOB, we have crafted a series of green and sustainable financing frameworks to help our customers navigate the requirements of obtaining green or sustainable or transition finance. So the underlying projects or activities could be in various areas. They could be in the space of constructing a green building, adoption of renewable energy, improving energy efficiency, recycling of plastics, metals, and waste. In particular, I'd like to highlight our transition finance framework, which is catered for companies in the energy-intensive, fossil fuel-based, or hard-to-abate sectors, such as oil, gas, and chemicals, steel, aviation, or even marine transportation. So you may ask why a framework is required to obtain green, sustainable, or transition finance. So these frameworks lays out the governance, requirements, tracking, and reporting which is required for each of the underlying activities. And this is to prevent any issues relating to greenwashing and to ensure the financing provided goes towards environmentally positive projects and activities. So in general, there are 3 main types of sustainable financing solutions that company can consider to use, especially to deploy towards low carbon hydrogen projects. So I'll start from the left. Firstly, we have what is known as sustainability linked loans, or SLL. So SLL are general corporate purpose lending. These essentially incentivize companies to improve their sustainable performance by pegging the interest rate of the financing provided by a bank to an agreed upon ambitious environmental target. So these targets could either be achieving improvements in a company's ESG, environmental, social, and governance ratings, or achievement in agreed upon targets between the bank and the company. So some of these targets could, especially in the energy sector, could be in the space of greenhouse gas reduction or improving energy efficiency. So I come to the middle, the second part, green instruments or loans. So these are more specific in nature for underlying green projects. So these are different from SLL in the sense that they focus specifically on the use of proceeds, meaning the borrowings that the customer gets are channeled towards very specific green projects. So this could be in the space of installation of renewable energy or pure play recycling activities. So last but not least, on the right, we have our transition finance framework to support transition finance products. So we can support the transition of companies in the energy-intensive and hard-to-abate sectors in your decarbonization journey. This transition finance instrument can focus on decarbonization projects or trade or underlying activities. So you may ask, how is transition finance different for sustainable and green financing? So this focuses on hard-to-abate sectors, and to ensure that there is no greenwashing, typically will require companies in this hard-to-abate sector to have a decarbonization or transition plan to lay out the decarbonization pathway of the company. So from the financing instruments, we'll take a quick look across the low carbon hydrogen value chain first, before we go into the financing pain points. So starting from the upstream, from green hydrogen, we'll need renewable energy for the electrolysis of water, while for blue hydrogen, there needs to be CCUS facility to capture and store the carbon dioxide. The natural gas is put through various reforming processes. In the midstream, the hydrogen will need to be transported via carriers. This could be in the form of liquid hydrogen or converted to ammonia or methanol for more efficient transportation. Hence, there will be requirements for specialized trucks, piping, or vessels. So down the chain, there are also many users of hydrogen, with emerging sources of demand likely to be in hard-to-abate sectors such as steel, power, transport, and shipping. All in all, it's a quite an integrated value chain, and there are various requirements and pain points faced across the ecosystem. So at UOB, we have studied the requirements of the low carbon hydrogen value chain, and we have identified certain pain points faced by the industry. So the industry is growing, and as with all things new, pioneers in this space will face both an exciting and yet challenging journey to bring the new technology to fruition. So some of these challenges include a lack of specific infrastructure for handling, storage, and transportation of the hydrogen. Also, the low carbon hydrogen technology is still evolving and improving, with industry players working to improve the production, shipping, and delivery technology to bring down the cost to a level that is price competitive with fossil fuels. So there also needs to be supportive policies and implementation of regulatory initiatives that support low carbon hydrogen sector to spur the growth of the industry. So on the right side of the screen, you see a box there, and this touches on the key financial pain points for development of the industry, which UOB can potentially assist you with. So it will be capital intensive to roll out either new infrastructure for low carbon hydrogen or even retrofit existing infrastructure, so we can support on the CAPEX requirements. In building the production plant, storage, or distribution facilities, there may be currency mismatches where the expenses made to foreign suppliers and EPCs could be in US dollars or in euros. I think project developers and owners need to ensure that there will not be any cost overruns due to foreign exchange fluctuations. During the construction phase, project developers and owners also need to ensure that their contractors and EPCs have seamless financing to ease any liquidity gaps. This is to ensure that the contractors and the EPCs can deliver the project on time and have sufficient financing to do so. So from a low carbon ecosystem perspective, the bank is open for discussion with you from pilot to commercialization of your project. So we understand that low carbon hydrogen is a new form of technology, and we'd like to work alongside you and provide the necessary financial support. So we start from the left, from a producer perspective. Besides financing your projects, when your project is due to go into front-end engineering and design to construction, we are prepared to work with you also to provide funding to your contractors, suppliers, and the entire ecosystem. So if your project requires funding for purchase of equipment, we are also able to support you. So after you have considered the production facility, as a developer or owner, you may be thinking about distribution infrastructure to your customers. Whether low carbon hydrogen will be distributed by pipeline domestically or shipped in specialized vessels to your customers overseas, UOB can also look at providing buyer or distributor financing. Finally, for your buyers of low carbon hydrogen, whether it is in the form of hydrogen or some form of carrier like ammonia, methanol, or MCH, The bank is also open to discussion on trade financing or hedging solution, especially if some of these trades are done in foreign currency to help you protect against adverse movement in the exchange rate. So we have spoken about the financing support that UOB can give. Next, we also want to highlight some of the details that the bank will look at in assessing the project viability when providing you the financial support. You need to understand some key project details. So starting on the top left corner, we need to understand the project size. So please share with us the capacity of a plant or receiving facility and the expected funding requirements, including the amount of equity, debt, and also whether you have any concessionary capital from multilaterals such as ADB and IFC. Next, we also need to understand your project development and construction track record, and also the period involved. So please help us to understand your capabilities and experience in delivering such infrastructure projects. On the site location, we need to know where your plant will be located to help the bank assess whether there's the required renewable energy source, whether you have the storage capacity or water supply nearby. If the project is a receiving facility, we like to know how far it is from the demand center or the energy-intensive industries it is supporting. On the project risk assessment, please share with us your feasibility studies. So what we'll be looking out for is that the site location you have chosen is not prone to natural disasters, and more importantly, how hydrogen leak detection will be managed. As we know, hydrogen is a highly flammable gas. To mitigate against technology risk, the technology of the plant, including the choice of the electrolyzer and how you manage your distribution infrastructure, will be something that we'll consider. On the EIA, please share with us your EIA, especially if it's conducted by independent professional, and whether the EIA has been approved by your local authorities. So while we know that low carbon hydrogen is beneficial to the environment, what we also look out for is whether there's no doing of significant harm, whether the construction of the new hydrogen plant will impact biodiversity or displace indigenous population. On your project assumptions, we also study your financial model to understand the revenues, CAPEX, OPEX forecasts, and also the growth assumptions. So we also want to know whether your project is part of the country's strategic plan. So in this way, we'll know whether there's any endorsement by the government that can potentially help in terms of fast-tracking permitting, granting of special tax incentive, or even advantageous site leases. On the commercial information, what we'll look out for is whether the project is on an integrated model, whether the project owner owns both the renewable energy and hydrogen production facility, or is the renewable energy sourced through a long-term PPA with a third party. On the offtake contracts, I think what we'll be looking out for is what percentage of the hydrogen production is already on long-term offtake contracts, are the contracts on take or pay terms, and what kind of pricing mechanism, including any floor or ceiling price for the hydrogen. On the construction contract, we'll look at whether the contract payments to EPCs are structured on lump sum turnkey basis and any mitigation on potential cost overruns. So last but not least, in terms of the delivery partner, we like to understand the reputation of the delivery partners, whether the contractors, the EPCs have similar experience or track record in low carbon hydrogen space. So I've come to the end of my presentation, and in closing, I'd like to add that other than low carbon hydrogen, Indonesia needs multiple sources of clean energies and technologies to achieve net zero by 2060 or even earlier. I'd like to share with you an industry insight produced by my colleague in UOB that is available for your download, so you can scan the QR code on the screen. So this insight introduces how UOB through transition finance can support companies on their transition journey. This could be supporting you in you and your ecosystem in looking at low carbon hydrogen, carbon capture, operational efficiency, or even in the space of developing carbon credit projects. To make all this happen, government incentives support together with private capital, such as commercial lending, will be important for everyone to come together to make it work. So at UOB, we are very excited about this development of low carbon hydrogen, and we look forward to supporting you. If you have any questions or queries, you can reach out to me or my colleague Shu Heng on email. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph, for the very interesting presentation. Okay, I'm going to go straight to the questions that already submitted by the participants. There is two questions. One is for Joseph, and one is for Pak Riza. The first question is for Joseph. Will there be any different discount rates for renewable projects, and what's the appetite of UOB to finance green energy projects such as hydrogen? And still related, will UOB finance energy transition projects that still emits CO2 and other emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, such as gray or blue hydrogen? And for Pak Riza, the question is, for someone, Pak, who wants to see and perhaps invest in carbon offset projects, such as one that you presented, where to see the opportunities, Pak? Maybe I can start from Joseph. You can answer, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the questions. In terms of the discount, I think that is first and foremost the number one question I always get at panel discussions or seminars. So I mentioned earlier that one of the green instruments, or one of the instruments available to companies, is what we call a sustainability-linked loan. So this is pegged towards the sustainability performance of the company. So if the company perform better, there will be an agreed upon discount rate, and if the company perform worse than what was targeted, there might be a small penalty. But either way, it's not going to make the company very poor or very rich through the discount or penalty. It's more what I call symbolic, to recognize the company's efforts. So that's the first part of my answer. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of interest from banks, to be honest, not just from UOB, but from commercial banks out there, to try and support the energy transitions through some of these renewable projects. So the tendency for some of these renewable projects that UOB has financed, they tend to be very competitive in terms of the pricing provided versus some of the more conventional kind of projects. Yeah. Then the second part of the question is, will UOB finance green or blue? I presume it's green or blue hydrogen, right? Because gray hydrogen is more conventional. So I think for green and blue hydrogen, this is definitely an area that we're looking at. But one thing that we also observe, quite a lot of it is still in the study and development phase. So we have not seen any project that is approaching FID at scale. So in quite a lot of the discussions is how do some of these projects move towards FID. And if we are really referring to gray hydrogen, that is more BAU. From UOB, what we are trying to do is we continue to support our customers in the energy sector and also to help them to transition. So we are more than happy to look at financing opportunities in this space.
Thank you. Pak Riza, please, Pak.
Thank you for the question, and it's very encouraging. So I think for like I explained, there are about 480 projects from forestry and other land use sector only that is being queuing up for, and that will needs a lot of support, investments, off takers, and everything. So I think the windows of opportunity are so wide. Like I said, we are having this Carbon Digital Conference in Bali, 8 to 10 November. Hopefully you can meet us there, so you can meet also a lot of project owners and project developers there. So I think that would be very exciting. Other than that, I think you can reach my email. We can discuss separately. There are some of the projects ready. If it means by FOLU sector, I think that would be easier, which is, I think, part of my forte as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So for someone or anyone in this seminar that wants to invest or perhaps join Pak Riza Suarga's ventures in carbon, you can call him and perhaps join the upcoming conference in Bali, and maybe you can get more details through that. Okay, any questions again from the floor? Let me see. Okay, I think there are no more questions from the floor. And with that, I'm going to close the session of the last session in this seminar. I would like to thank to Joseph Poh from UOB and Pak Riza Suarga. Thank you very much for your presence today seminar. It was a very interesting presentation. And with that, we come to the end of this seminar. Before I close this event, I'm going to point out several things. The first is that we have heard from speakers from the first speaker until this session about green hydrogen in development, and the first speaker from GIZ, the team needs explaining about the GIZ readiness to facilitate, to help hydrogen developments, partnerships, and initiatives that are developing in Indonesia and other countries as well. And from Bu Febi Misna, we heard that the ministry supports the development of hydrogen. The ministry has formed such kind of committee called a technical committee that hopefully can speed up the hydrogen development. And we have Pak Taufik from Pertamina New and Renewable Energy saying that Pertamina has mapped out potential locations as well sectors for hydrogen consumption. Very detailed presentation that was made by Pak Taufik. He also elaborated about the need of incentives such as subsidy, which is crucial to bolster the hydrogen development, in particular reducing the price of hydrogen in the hands of the customer. And we have Prof. Enia telling us that hydrogen is gaining lots of tractions, interest from industries to develop hydrogen. She mentioned also the need to put regulation about standards of hydrogen, which has not been implemented in Indonesia. Also, awareness of the people is needed to be increased about hydrogen. We also have Pak Janarko from Samator, Aneka Gas Industry. Aneka Gas is the leading producer of hydrogen in Indonesia and is already produced green hydrogen in small scale. We have Matthias from Ambartech providing solutions for hydrogen transportation in container shapes. It can be implemented in Indonesia as well. Ambartech has implemented this technology in many countries. And we have Pak Riza Suarga telling us the need and the importance of carbon trading and carbon offset. And also today marks the important milestone for Indonesia since the ICDX, the Indonesian Stock Exchange launched the carbon trading. Also, we have also from UOB, Mr. Joseph Poh, telling us the solutions that are provided by UOB, providing financing a solution for green projects. So I think that's the points that I can wrap to this seminar. And before I close the seminar, I would like to inform you again the upcoming event that will be held by GIZ Thailand, H2 Up Southeast Asia Conference on Green Hydrogen and PTX that will be held on 9th October 2023. You can find the link about the event in the chat box. And also, we humbly ask you to fill up the feedback form before you leave this seminar, the link of the feedback is attached in the chat box. So finally, on behalf of EKONID and GIZ, I sincerely thanks to all speakers and participants that joining today's seminar. See you again and have a great evening.